Hello and welcome to another Talking Points, where today I'm going to be talking about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I'm going to try to be positive in some places, but I feel like absolute shit. My throat is killing me. I probably shouldn't be recording this, but seeing as I've just seen the movie and it's fresh in my mind, I figure now's the time to actually do this video, because I'm not going to remember pretty much anything to do with this movie by tomorrow. I have a strong feeling it is the most scene for scene moment of things just existing I've seen in a very, very, very long time in movies. It starts essentially with Rosalina telling stories, which, by the way, I'm going to be obviously kind of doing full spoilers here. So it starts with Rosalina telling stories to the Lumas, and the stories are specifically about the Mario Bros. And Peach. And Peach is like the forefront character and clearly supposed to be important. And there's been a lot of fan theories about Peach and Rosalina's relationship for decades now, and this movie does actually confirm some of those theories. Basically, they're sisters, and they were separated at birth, almost like a kind of Superman knockoff type thing. But I'll get to that later. I'm jumping way ahead. So Rosalina's doing the story time with the Lumas, and then one of the giant robots, the robot boss from Mario Galaxy 1, basically comes into play, and she has to fight to protect her Lumas. And yeah, that's basically the opening, the cold open of the movie. Bowser Jr., it turns out to be the one who's actually piloting the robot, and he kidnaps Rosalina because they're going straight back to the damsel in distress side of things for whatever reason, after it actually worked out well to make Peach an actual girl boss character. Rosalina, straight away, we're back to, yep, damsel in distress territory, which I'd say fine enough as long as like it was actually going somewhere, but nothing with this movie goes anywhere. So it cuts to a Mario Kart reference, and they're basically, Mario and Luigi are riding motorbikes in the desert, and it's actually the desert from the Mario Odyssey game. I'm trying to remember the name of that fucking kingdom right now, but either way, it's the desert from there with all of the really cool art and skulls and just everything. So I was like, hey, this is a nice little visual reference, and that really is all this scene is. They go straight into a cave where they find Yoshi, whom I like. Donald Glover. I've loved Community for ages. I like Childish Gambino's music, to be honest. But as Yoshi, it's kind of worse than the whole Groot thing. He's not really his own character. He's just there, and everyone is saying this exact same thing, and it's because it's so apparent. The fact that when Yoshi does appear and Toad's basically like, oh, so this guy's just part of the cast now, it's like, yeah, that really is, that's the whole thing. It does actually show like some backstory of how Yoshi got to the Mushroom Kingdom, and how he got through a warp pipe, basically going off the Easter egg from the end of the, well, not Easter egg, the post-credit scene from the end of the last movie. And speaking of the last movie, so the first movie felt like a collection of scenes. It just felt like a collection of scenes of things happening, and just there was no real reason for it. It was just Easter eggs and remember moments. And sorry, I've paused the game because I'm trying to like mentally go there essentially, and it really was just like moment after moment after moment. But it had a loose plot and everything. The second one, it's like the first movie, but way worse. It really feels like no one had a consensus to what this movie was going to be. And what I'm about to say, I need to preface, I'm not saying the art or anything comes off as AI, not at all. The visual spectacle of this movie is like the only good part of it. A lot of artists clearly put a lot of time and effort and work into actually making this. The part that feels like AI, it essentially feels like someone found a channel on YouTube doing a couple of, what if this cool moment from the game was made to look like a movie? And then they found another channel doing the same thing, and another channel doing the same thing, and was like, you know what, if we get an AI tool to actually just splice in some footage here, we could turn these collection of 20 shorts into an actual movie. That's what Mario Galaxy movie feels like. It feels like just a collection of moments just put together into a movie. But none of it really works at any point. Like, there's no real humour, there's no real heart, there's no emotion. It even feels like a lot of the voice actors were actually phoning it in. Like, Mario's barely in the movie and barely memorable and barely has any fucking lines that I can actually point to right now and say, oh yeah, Mario said that. Luigi is kind of there. Peach is kind of there. Rosalina is basically a plot point only and not really a character, and it's like you see her for 5 minutes and then not really. It's just there's so many characters in this that feel like they're just total filler. And that's weird considering it's the Mario movie, and again considering Mario is one of those characters that actually feels like filler. So yeah, going back to the actual, I guess, plot or events of the movie, Yoshi obviously was where I'd left off, and they go back to the Mushroom Kingdom with Yoshi, and they start having this celebration, and all of the stars start falling down from the sky, just like in the Mario Galaxy game. And I honestly feel like this is one of those, you can tell this is from a video game, because catching stardust from the sky, I'm pretty sure would react badly and lead to like some pretty nasty radiation sickness. I'm pretty sure everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom would be dead after that, but whatever. Peach basically finds out about Rosalina because of Illuma and decides to go and rescue her, and the Toads start panicking and freaking out, and Mario and Luigi are like, yeah, we'll go sort this. But first we then get the member scene moment where it's just like everything is remember this, remember this, remember this. They go to essentially a world map and they start going through events in order of what kind of happened in the games, and you get loads of key scenes where it's like, oh yeah, I remember this from Mario 1, I remember this from Mario 2, I remember this from Mario 3, I remember this from Mario Odyssey, I remember this from Mario Galaxy, I remember this from Mario World. Like, it's just that all the way through. We then get Bowser trying to basically reform himself, but we all know that's bullcrap, except the way they do Bowser and everything in this movie is so fucking bizarre. So Bowser's basically trying to show that he's a reformed person, and Bowser Jr. comes and rescues him, and basically what happens is, and I want to say this is Mario and Luigi and the Bowser game that was on the Nintendo DS, I want to say. I'm trying to actually remember, was that a DS game or a 3DS game? I think they remade it for the 3DS, or maybe they remade it for the Switch. It's one of the JRPGs, basically. It's one of them that I didn't play. Bowser's basically with Mario and Luigi for, I would say a large part of the film. It seemed like it was going to be a large part of the film. No. So Bowser Jr. basically, in his rescue attempt, destroys the entire castle, and that's how they actually get to this moment of it's Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Bowser. And Bowser's still small, and as they start to explore, it cuts back to Peach and Toad on their adventures, and basically they're in a kind of starport type thing where, again, it's mainly just this is only here for reference after reference after reference. We then get to the moment that's confusing for anyone who hasn't played the games. Like, as a film, this fundamentally feels, because if I hadn't actually known that you could jump through invisible walls in a Mario game, this scene would be so weird that that's the plot point, that they have to jump through an invisible wall, or a wall that's like, I'm trying to think of the word because it's not invisible. You can actually see the wall, but it's the wall's not solid. It's like transparent would be if it was see-through, but hopefully you know what I mean. So anyway, they go through this wall, and then we start yet another remember this. So basically they do the entirety of Super Mario Bros. 2's villains and undervillains, and Luis Guzman plays Wart, and Wart is kind of cool, but like no one else really gets any lines, so Mauser, Birdo, any of them. We cut back to Mario and Luigi talking to Bowser at this moment in time, and they're trying to essentially work out whether or not they want to see it, not so much see it, but they want to turn Bowser back into being a giant, and eventually Bowser goads Mario into doing this, and you think, oh, this is where the trick comes in. No, Bowser is actually apparently reformed, and he did just want to be giant, and all is well with the world, so it's like, oh, okay. That's fine. I'm actually fine with this if this is the way that the movie's going to go. But we cut straight back to Peach and Toad, and then they're in a casino and doing this fight scene with all of the Super Mario 2 Bros enemies, and it's just action sequence for the sake of action sequence and memory moment for the sake of memory moment, and it's flashy and kind of cool, but it's not exactly amazing. But after that, we then get the bees from Mario Galaxy, so the actual bee kingdom, and the bees were always super nice and super friendly in the games. The bees come off as kind of stuck up bitches in this, and it's weird. It seems like they're antagonists for the sake of antagonists, and it's because you need an antagonist, because Bowser's now fully reformed and actually throws himself on the mercy of the court and says that he's going to do the hard time and punishment in lieu of the Mario Brothers so they can go and save Peach and Rosalina. He's then on, like, essentially a picket line, not a picket line, like a chain gang line, and he's doing mining work like an old-timey prison movie, but is instantly rescued by Bowser Jr., where it then cuts to showing their childhood moment of, like, Bowser Jr. growing up with Bowser, and Bowser saying that he was a bad dad, but actually he was apparently a good dad because he did puppet shows, and obviously the puppet show is just another reference because everyone knows that Super Mario Bros. 3 was played on a stage. That's kind of the whole point, so that's what this scene is. Oh god, sorry, I kind of need a minute. I'm trying to play it and go through an entire movie is a little exhausting, so I might be pausing this for a minute while I talk, because then we cut back to Peach and Toad in the airport, and they do a Rob scene that's kind of funny, but also kind of feels derivative of Flash from Zootopia or Zootropolis, depending on where you're from, depends on what the movie's actually called. We start getting more references though. We get Pikmin, we get lots of characters from the actual Mario Galaxy games, and then we get Fox McCloud, and Fox has this whole anime intro thing with all of the Star Fox gang, and Fox is in the movie way more than I actually thought he was going to be, like way more than I thought it was going to be. But for now, he's just there and introduced, and it cuts back to Mario and Luigi, who are now flying on a beetle, and apparently we're so close to Peach that they're actually already there. So Fox takes all of them, Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Toad, and Peach, on his R-Wing, flying across space, and they're essentially getting bombarded by Bowser Jr. and Bowser in a UFO, where Bowser Jr. then pulls out Snescorp, turns Mario and Luigi into Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, enter the Yoshi's Island reference, where Yoshi has to protect the babies on the planet they crash land on, except they crash land on a planet with the T-Rex from Mario Odyssey, and they have to turn the Mario Odyssey T-Rex into a baby, and no one seems to be talking about this. It can't just be me who seems to realise that's a reference to the Mario Brothers movie. Not the first animated one, I mean the original, the Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo one. Because the dinosaur that the baby T-Rex turns into is basically the Yoshi from that movie, only wearing a diaper. Now, I could be wrong, I could be reading into it, but to me, it feels like that's just yet another superfluous reference for the sake of referencing. It doesn't actually add anything to the story, anything to the depth, or it's just yet another moment in a movie full of, yep, this was a moment. This was certainly a thing that we saw happen. But anyway, we cut to Star Fox basically crying over the fact that the R-Wing's been destroyed, and then they start broadcasting over the radio that they need help. Luigi basically starts broadcasting in a ham-style scenario. I don't know how he knew how to do this. I mean, to be fair, from the first movie, we do see them in New York, so he basically starts acting like a taxi receiver, I guess. The Lumas on the Cosmos Galaxy ship, I'm struggling to remember what the fuck it's actually called now, from the first game, not this game, the one that basically Rosalina pilots, it's an entire city, that comes flying in, and Peach suddenly starts to learn that she's the sister of Rosalina. Fox apparently can pilot this spaceship because he's just that damn good, so Fox pilots the spaceship, and we cut back to be fair, Fox pilots the spaceship a little bit later, because after finding out they're related, we actually cut back to Rosalina is finally in the movie again for the next 30 seconds, and Bowser and Bowser Jr. are basically on the ship, and Bowser's being applauded for being the big evil, and Bowser's like, yep, I'm evil again. So yeah, Bowser's evil again, just for the sake of it, I guess. Now Fox is finally piloting the ship, and they do the whole invade the things, save Rosalina, like that everyone knew and was building up to. They do yet more references to loads of different Mario levels, and one that's basically out of a Kaizo. It's nothing you'll ever actually see in a Mario level, but it's just a Kaizo style level of so many millions of things coming at them. They then cut to the bridge, the most infamous bridge where Mario fights Bowser and Mario officially kills Bowser, except anyone who knows Mario games, and specifically Mario Kart games, will know, yep, that's Dry Bowser confirmed. And sure enough, Bowser Jr. comes out, he's upset that his father's been killed, and then nope, Dry Bowser actually comes into existence, and Dry Bowser is kinda cool. I don't know why I can't make this jump, by the way, as well. I'm playing on a capture card, watching that while I actually look at the notes of the actual movie, which is very difficult to do, but the input lag that I'm getting is apparently making it so I can't fucking do this jump. But anyway, we're nearly done the movie, which means we're nearly done the video, because after Dry Bowser pops up, we then get the full-on boss fight scene, and it's just using super move after super move after super move, and doing one of the references of Yoshi's weird inflatable moves, and then we get yet another Smash Bros. Tease, and I haven't brought up Smash Bros. Yet, because I need to talk about it at the end, but we get Game & Watch basically comes out of nowhere, and then the dragon from Mario Odyssey comes out of nowhere, and the dragon kills Bowser Jr., and Bowser's really upset, so Mario, being Mario, decides to save Bowser Jr., and now suddenly Bowser and Bowser Jr. are actually good guys again, I guess, and again, it's just there for the sake of being there. We cut to Peach finally saving Rosalina, and saves her in the most cliche way that we all knew, because they'd set up that together they've got the power to do anything. And yeah, it then ends with a Mario Maker montage where they basically rebuild Peach's castle, because all the Lumas want to see the castle, and Mario and Luigi hadn't got around to telling anyone that the castle had been completely destroyed. We get a Super Mario World reference again, just like to end the first movie with Yoshi, except it was using the Rock's cape. And then we cut to Fox talking to a Toad, flying away. Fox has, I guess, put Bowser and Bowser Jr. in jail, where we get the depressed, way too adult for a kids movie Luma from the first movie again, talking about the existentialness of death and everything. And then the post-credits scene is, there's the Yukiki, I think it's called, the chimpanzee from one of the games, in the starport. Basically, it stole a bunch of stuff from Toad and Peach, and that's when they had to jump through the invisible wall and fight all the Mario 2 bosses. Basically, Yukiki's back stealing again, and Daisy pops in, no voice, no anything, just punches the chimpanzee, and then after punching the chimpanzee, the movie ends. And that's it. And that's the entire movie. There's no really jokes, there's no real redeeming features, there's no anything other than it's just a movie that exists for the sake of a movie. And there's a lot of people saying, but it's a kids movie. Yeah, kids movies can be good, and I'm not even going to say like the Pixar ones that everyone says. The Wild Robot came out a couple of years ago. It's one of the most fantastic movies I've seen in a long time, and I was like, I cannot believe this is like being hailed as something that you show your kids. Like, this is a very, very good movie that I think most people would enjoy. Kids movies can be good, you know, they don't all have to suck. It's just infuriating, it really is. Probably as infuriating as this gameplay, but I can't remember how to actually use Yoshi's tongue. I thought it was the R button, but I'm assuming not. Oh, I have to do this first, yeah. So, yeah, Smash Brothers is never really actually confirmed at any point. They don't really do a wink and a nudge or anything. It's just that these characters from other franchises just exist. And the ones that they pick are very smart, because Pikmin is made by Shigeru Miyamoto as well. Star Fox is one of those, kind of everyone knows that Miyamoto used to go to the Star Fox studios to be able to smoke. You've got Game & Watch, which obviously a huge part of early Nintendo. Like, all of the cameo type things are really smart, and it's the sort of thing that it feels like they've been set up so that you could say, oh no, they're just in there because they're Nintendo references, they're not Smash Brothers references. And I say that because there's nothing ever really hinting at Smash Brothers, other than Fox and Mario look at each other for just a little bit too long in a way that's reminiscent of the original Smash Brothers art, like the box art. And the one thing I actually kind of expected to see was Link, because on top of the fact that we've got a Zelda movie coming out, all that really needed to do was just some reference to either a rupee or a Triforce or something to really set up Smash Brothers. And now I'm not sure whether or not they're doing it. Now I'm not sure if we're getting a Mario Odyssey movie, for example, but this kind of was the Odyssey movie, or if we're moving on to Smash Brothers. And I don't know what to say, because the movie itself, what I'm about to say might actually sound like a compliment, but it's not. This is one of the most faithful adaptations to a video game I've ever seen. Because, like video games, doesn't really make any sense. It's like Mario Galaxy 2. It is just a series of levels going from cool moment to cool moment to cool moment. And in games that works because that's what the player wants. The player wants the gameplay, so we're used to and expecting the gameplay to change on a level-to-level basis in a Mario game. The movie basically came off like it was just a bunch of moments and a bunch of levels and just total and utter chaos, and was meant to be, oh yeah, you're watching someone play a Mario game. And because of that, it makes me worry that if we actually get a Smash Brothers movie, the Smash Brothers movie is just going to be fan service fights. And it's going to be, okay, so this is Mario versus Star Fox, and this is Luigi versus Samus, and we're just going to go through like scene after scene after scene after scene after fight after fight after fight with absolutely no context, no depth, no anything, and then they'll beat the Master Hand and the credits will roll. It really feels like if we get a Smash Brothers movie, sorry, I'm starting to lose the ability to speak, my throat is really sore, so this has got to be the closing point. It feels like if we get a Smash Brothers movie, that it's actually just going to be so much fan service filler crap for the sake of fan service filler crap, just like all of these other movies have been so far. And it's such a shame, because this is Nintendo. They've got money. They can truly do an actual good movie here, and they've got the animation chops down with the studio that they're working with. Like, visually, these movies are an absolute feast to look at. It's the only reason to actually watch them, because visually they're an absolute fucking cacophony of everything. And I know cacophonies for music, I truly do, but it's like everything, it's a bombardment of visuals, but it's never garish, it's never anything that's like off-putting. It's usually a case of wow all the way through, so it kind of makes it worth watching once, even though it's the most awful movie, you know. And I don't want that with a Smash Brothers movie, but at the same time, how do you make a story, an actual story for a Smash Brothers movie? So maybe that's why they're setting it up like this. Maybe that's why they're tempering expectations with Mario Galaxy, and people are going to go, oh yeah, of course, it's just going to be like that because that's how Mario Galaxy was. But it feels like it could have been so much more. And even the voice actors, so many of them seem like they phoned this work in. It really does feel like Charlie Day kind of tried. Anya tried to be a good Peach. Brie, for the whole 3 lines that she gets in the movie, tried to be a good Rosalina. But you get characters just really phoning it in, and I'm not a Chris Pratt fan at all. I don't want to say too many reasons why, but basically the way that he acts with one of his children, and the fact that there's all of the hate queer people things that kind of circled with it. I've never been a Chris Pratt fan at all. I kind of avoid stuff that he's in and hate that. I like Andy Dwyer in Parks and Rec, because I liked Andy Dwyer before all of this, and now it's like I struggle to rewatch Parks and Rec. So I'm really not a Chris Pratt fan. I'm really not a fan at all of him being Mario. I don't think someone as wholesome as Mario should be played by someone like Chris Pratt, personally, but that's where I'm going to leave that. And I'm going to say, even he, in a Mario movie, truly felt like he was phoning it in. And I don't understand why we actually cast Yoshi to just do Groot 2.0, except even Groot had more depth in the first film. It's maddening how few people seemed to actually try with this movie. The art department, they tried. Everyone else, the writers, I'm even going to say the sound department, because there's so many times where things happen directly from the games, like the warp star things that you're seeing me do here, where the Lumas turn into stars. That just happens. And again, in a movie, that doesn't make sense. In a game, it makes sense. So the fact that you're supposed to watch this knowing everything about the games and knowing that this is just a mechanic and that's how it functions, with no actual, hey, I can turn into this ability to do this and fire you. There's not even an explanation. It's just he jumps into one of the warp stars and bam, he's in one of the warp stars. it takes all of those moments from the games, but it also takes the actual sound effects. So many times there's just off-putting noises that feel like they've been lifted directly from the game and that don't feel like they were edited sound-wise into the movie. It truly does feel like someone was just playing two things at once to just capture the sound. It's like, right, we'll just have someone play the game and jump in and collect the star bits and like have the Lumas appear at the exact moment that they appear in the movie and record it that way. It sounded off all the time. It felt like every single department, other than the art department, phoned in every last bit of this. The voice actors just wanted to get paid and get the fuck out there. I'd be astonished if there was actually a director on set with any of them telling them what they were supposed to be doing in the booth, because all of them didn't really try. Every part of the movie just felt like a total and utter failure to me. Outside of, again, the visual aspect of it, you go to watch it. I think if it was a silent movie, I probably would have enjoyed it more. And that's truly not what I should be saying about a movie. Musically, it was okay. They picked a lot of famous songs in that, and they did do some actual like pop culture songs. It was nothing to write home about, to be honest. It was nothing. I can't even really remember specifically which tracks had actually came from which games. I was just like, oh yeah, yet another remember this moment. But the problem is, all of those remember this moments have so little depth to them that I'm less than 15 hours from watching the film, and I'm already starting to forget so much of it, because it's just here for a moment and gone the next. And yeah, with that, I need to finish this, because on top of picking the worst level to try to do here, I am really feeling like shit. So yeah, I'm going to say it. If you enjoyed the movie, great. Truly, I'm happy for you. I actually want people to enjoy the things that they spend their money on and consume content-wise and that, but I really did not. And I didn't like the first one, but again, it was a visual spectacle, and it was all of these nostalgia moments, so I thought I might as well watch a second one. I don't know if I want to watch a third one of these, because I'm kind of done with all of this. And it's a shame, because I'll probably end up watching it purely out of curiosity as to if we do start to get a Smash Brothers thing. But either way, I've been Sky Fellowship. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know what to say, because again, I feel like it's the sort of thing that it's worth going to watch, but it's also a lot of fucking money these days to watch something like that, but at the same time, the cinema tends to be a good spectacle of it, and if not waiting for the 4K or something, or waiting for streaming, but it's not a good movie. It really isn't, and it could have been so much fucking more. Right then, bye. Annoyingly, I forgot to finish my actual point with the Smash Brothers thing, because I'd said about Link, and I'd said about how they basically went very safe with the people that they did show all being important to Miyamoto. Obviously, Link is hugely important to Miyamoto, but Link also feels like if you did actually show him, then that was too much of a, yeah, we're confirming a Smash Brothers thing, whereas the others you can kind of get away. I mean, Fox is just bizarre, but the fact that apparently they did make this movie with Miyamoto in mind, with making like all of the major references and things that he really cared about, which makes weird sense from a movie perspective. Like, who makes a movie for literally one person? And there's a lot of people out there going, oh well, no, it's been made for the diehard fans who got all the references. I got all the references. I'm not going to say I spotted every single Easter egg. Like, I saw Metroid, well, I saw the gunship. You don't actually see anything else from Metroid. I saw Samus's gunship from Metroid, is what I should say, because I don't want it to come across like I'm saying I saw a Metroid when there's no Metroid in the movie. However, again, I didn't see everything, so maybe I did miss one. But yeah, it's like people are saying it's been made for the fans, because everyone else will, like, no one but the people who've played the games will understand all of the game stuff. And again, it feels like it's an actual video game movie. It feels like it's been made so that nothing has to make any sense, because nothing makes sense in games where suddenly these power-ups appear, where suddenly these abilities appear, where suddenly you can do this, that, and the other. There's never any friction. There's never any, like, magic solves everything, essentially. Like, there's never any friction, because magic solves everything is what I should have said. I accidentally added another never in there. Because in anything at all that's got an actual plot, it's usually, okay, so we need to get from A to B, but in between A and B is this massive friction point. Whereas in a Mario, it's like, oh, Rosalina's been kidnapped, so clear this level, get all the stars in it, that'll unlock the next level, clear that level, get all the stars in it, that'll unlock the next level, clear that level, and then you get a boss fight, and that's how the movie felt the entire way through. So, yeah, it's just, I'm struggling to think of anything else that I could have wanted to say here, but I knew I had to finish that Smash Brothers thing off because, yeah, saying obviously it was characters important to Miyamoto, and I forgot to go back to Link, which again, very important to Miyamoto. As soon as you actually add Link in, it's kind of got a lot more weight to it. But the fact that we've got a Zelda movie coming out is actually the only reason why I thought Link would be in it. I wasn't going in with hopes and expectations. This isn't one of those, oh, the one thing I wanted to happen didn't happen, so I hate the movie. It was about 40 minutes into the film, well, maybe 30 minutes, it's when they actually go to this overload of all the references in the starport. I was like, oh, I wonder if Link will be in it, because obviously that's like, they're going for very important characters here for not just Miyamoto but Nintendo in general. There's a Zelda movie coming out, and that would kind of be, I guess, the best way to really hint at Smash Brothers. And it's like, no, instead we just get some weirdness and some if you know you know, and yeah, just making a movie for a very specific subsection of fans. Maybe kids won't care because kids can go for the whole disbelief and you can go from scene to scene to scene. But at the same time, when I was a kid, some of the stuff I watched, I actually had problems with that, and the older I got, the more I realised movies like that were an issue. And then I started to actually find other kids' movies that actually, you know, had depth to them and had real moments and had a real plot. And by the time I was done, I was like, you know what, I wish movies like this had existed when I was a kid. So the fact that movies like that do exist now, and Illumination made what was essentially an 80s movie of let's just do bright flashy colours and moment to moment to moment, it's a bit weird. And it's even weirder when you find out that, yeah, it was kind of all done to appease one person, and now it's like, it feels like you're going to have a subsection of fans going, well, no, you're not Mario fan enough, or you don't get it, or something like that. And it's like, no, you're allowed to hate a movie for the fact of what it is. Like, I did get all the moments and references, I did spot all of the winks and the nods. It's just, you can't make a movie on winks and nods alone. You truly can't. That's not how movies work. You can't even really make a game on winks and nods alone. Remember every time that Nintendo tried that, where people did like WarioWare Gold, and it's like a collection of all the best micro games from Wario, and everyone was like, no one, like, we play WarioWare for WarioWare, and this feels like both like WarioWare but also the least WarioWare ever, because there's no depth here. It's just the micro games, and it's micro games that we've played in other games, and it doesn't work in games either. So I don't know why they decided to do it in movies, and it'll make billions most likely, and they'll make 15, 17, 20 more of them, and eventually everyone will be on the same wavelength of, oh, you know what, these really sucked, and they always sucked. But at the moment, there are a bunch of people who do seem to like them, and again, fair play if you do like them. I'm not trying to say it otherwise, but they're just not good movies, and this one especially sucked. Right, this time, bye.